You know that character in action movies? The one who's just sitting in the back of the room, totally silent.
The quiet professional.
Exactly. The quiet one. And you realize the moment the fighting starts, they're the only person you should have been afraid of. They don't monologue. They don't pose.
They just solve the problem.
They just walk in, dismantle everything, and leave.
It's the difference between a performer and, well, a killer. And today, we're looking at what might be the ancient mythological ancestor of that exact archetype.
Okay.
We are opening up the files on a character named Masui from the classic epic Investiture of the Gods.
Masui. I have to admit, when we first pulled the sources for this, that name didn't immediately jump out at me. He's not exactly on the level of, say, the Monkey King, is he?
No, and that's the whole point. He's not a headline celebrity.
Yeah.
In the story's hierarchy, he's just a G-sect loose immortal.
A loose immortal.
But the analysis we have today paints him as something far more interesting. He's a ruthless, terrifyingly efficient expert who teaches a very modern, almost cynical lesson.
And what's that?
The difference between skill and destiny.
Oh, I like that. Skill versus destiny. Because we're always told that skill creates your destiny, right?
Usually, yeah.
But this story seems to suggest maybe not. So our mission today is to unpack this guy, Masui. We're going to look at his combat style, which is honestly disturbing.
It is.
His role in the big war between the Chan and G-sects, and why, despite being one of the most effective guys on the field, he just couldn't win.
It's a tragedy, really, but it's also a masterclass in bureaucratic survival.
Okay, let's set the stage. For anyone who hasn't read the Feng Yanyi, who is Masui, what's his vibe?
So the context is this massive celestial war. On one side, you have the Western Qi, backed by the Chan sect. Think of them as the establishment.
The Orthodox side.
Right. And on the other, you have the Shang dynasty, backed by the G sect. Masui is firmly on Team G. But while his teammates are all, loud and chaotic, Masui is described with a very specific phrase, yin-hen.
Yin-hen. What's that translate to?
Sinister and ruthless, or gloomy and vicious. The sources really emphasize how different he is. You have to remember, in this genre, battles are like 50% fighting and 50% what fans call mouth cannons.
Mouth cannons. Is that a real weapon? Because that sounds amazing.
I wish. No, it's a trope. It's just trash talk. Standing on a cloud, listing your family history, debating the morality of the universe.
It's a lot of posturing.
A lot of pomp and circumstance. It's theatrical. And the sources make it crystal clear. Masui has zero time for theater.
He's the guy who skips the cutscene in a video game.
Precisely. The text notes, he doesn't lecture his enemies, he doesn't pose, he doesn't care if you know who he is. He's described as a tool man type expert.
A tool man? That sounds so utilitarian.
It is. He sees himself as an instrument for a task. He shows up, finds the target, neutralizes it, and he's gone. The source material says it perfectly. Strike once, succeed, and retreat.
He's not there for glory. He's there to get a job done.
Which gives him this very modern, almost hitman vibe. Like he's in a tailored suit while everyone else is in shiny armor, screaming about their honor.
That is a great analogy. He's the professional who brings a silencer to a magic fight. And that makes him so dangerous, because you can't bait him. You can't distract him.
He's just there to work.
Okay, so if he's not winning with words, he's winning with action. And in the Fengshen world, that usually means magical artifacts. The sources make a huge deal about his weapon.
Oh, yes. The Jingu. The golden hoop.
The golden hoop. It sounds kind of harmless, like a piece of jewelry.
Don't let the name fool you. This is one of the most feared weapons in the whole story, specifically because of how he uses it.
How so?
The commentary we have described its use as lacking martial ethics.
Lacking martial ethics. That's a nice way of saying he fights dirty, isn't it?
Pretty much. In this world, there's an etiquette. You announce yourself, you face your opponent. The golden hoop is a ranged weapon. It requires zero close combat. And the really terrifying part is that Masui often uses it before the other guy even knows the fight has started.
So no wind-up, no big incantation where the sky goes dark.
Nothing. 1 second you're standing there, clearing your throat for a big speech, and the next second, click. There's a golden band around your head.
And once it's on,
it's game over.
Yes.
The source material is very explicit. It targets the head, tightens, and this is the key. It instantly seals the victim's Yuan Shen, their primordial spirit.
So it seals your magic. You can't even cast a spell to get it off.
Right. It's a total system shutdown. It doesn't matter how powerful you are, how many centuries you've been cultivating. Once that hoop is on, you are paralyzed. A statue.
Wow.
The sources have a great line for it. Cultivation might not be superior, but the treasure is definitely sinister.
That is a nightmare for these immortals. You
Ah.
spend 1,000 years building up your power, and some guy just throws a bracelet at you and hits the off switch.
It's a victory of technology or, equipment over personal growth. It's the ultimate control weapon. In gaming terms, he isn't a tank or a DPS. He's crowd control.
He just locks you down so you can't even play.
Exactly.
Okay, I want to see this in action. The sources bring up a specific rivalry, or, well, maybe not rivalry, more like a specific victim that really shows this dynamic. Masui versus Huang Zenren.
Yes, Huang Zenren, the yellow dragon real person. And this encounter is the perfect case study. It's such a comical mismatch of styles.
Okay, break it down for me. In one corner, Masui, silent, ruthless, with the golden hoop. In the other corner, Huang. What's his story?
Well, if Masui's the hitman, Huang is. Let's just say he's the middle manager who loves a good meeting. He's one of the 12 golden immortals of the Chan sect.
That sounds important. The 12 golden immortals, he must be top tier.
He has the rank, definitely. He has status. But the text is just brutal to him. The sources say Huang loves to Jiang Lito talk principle.
He likes to argue.
He likes to reason. But, and this is a direct quote, he is not good at fighting.
A golden immortal who can't fight? How does that even work?
He has no emergency countermeasures, no strong defensive artifacts, slow reaction time. He relies entirely on his status. He expects people to just respect the title.
So he steps out to face Masui, thinking they're going to have a debate.
I can just picture it. Huang steps forward, clears his throat, probably about to say something like, "How dare you defy the will of heaven?"
But Masui isn't listening.
Before Huang can even get the first word out, Masui has already raised his hand, no hesitation. The golden hoop is in the air.
That's it.
That's it. Before Huang even processes that negotiations are off the table, the hoop is on his head, it tightens, his face goes red, his eyes bulge, and he just collapses.
No duel, no exchange of blows, nothing.
Yes.
Done. The source says Masui gives his enemy no space to breathe. It's a predator-prey situation. Huang is just completely exposed. He doesn't have the automatic defenses some of his colleagues have.
So once his magic is sealed, he's helpless. Totally helpless. It's humiliating. You're this high-ranking executive of the heavens, and you get taken out like a rookie.
Because you brought a PowerPoint to a gunfight.
It's a perfect analogy. Masui just exploits that weakness ruthlessly. He knows he doesn't need to be better. He just needs to be faster with his tool.
But, and this is where it gets really interesting for me, he doesn't kill him, does he? He can't kill him. If Masui is this effective, why is Huang still around later? Why does Masui ultimately lose?
And that brings us to the core lesson of this whole deep dive, the philosophy of fate, or why winning the battle doesn't mean you win the war.
Okay, let's get into this, because on paper, Masui won that fight. 100%.
He won the duel, yes, but he couldn't win the narrative. The sources introduced this concept of qiyern. It translates to something like luck or fate protection.
Some sources call it gas luck, which is a strange term.
It sounds weird, yeah. It's not karma exactly. It's more like metaphysical capital. It's your destiny's credit score. And Huang survives not because of skill, we know he has none, but because of who he represents.
He's too big to fail.
Precisely. The sources give 3 reasons for this corporate protection. First, the 12 golden immortals are the face of the Chan sect.
So it's brand management.
Exactly. If one of them dies a humiliating death to a loose immortal, the whole brand looks bad. The bosses can't have that.
Okay, that's cynical, but it makes sense. What's reason 2?
The killing tribulation. There's basically a quota for how many souls need to die to fill up the slots on the investiture list of new gods. And the whole story is rigged so that the G-sect disciples, Masui's team, are destined to fill that quota.
So the game was rigged from the start. He thinks he's fighting a war, but he's just cannon fodder with a high skill level.
That's a good way to put it. And the third reason is the rescue mechanism. The second a Chan immortal like Huang gets into trouble, someone always shows up to save them. They have backup.
A panic button that calls the CEO.
Basically. So even though Masui has him dead to rights, the plot, this qiyun, doesn't allow for the kill. Someone will always intervene.
That has to be so frustrating for Masui. You do everything right, you have the skills, the gear, you win the fight, and you still lose because the other guy has better insurance.
It's the tragedy of the G-sect. Masui's tools are deadly, but he's fighting against the script of the universe.
So let's talk about the symbolism. The author was obviously commenting on power structures. What are Masui and Huang metaphors for?
The analysis says Masui represents unorthodox strength. He's all about equipment, technique, execution, the self-made expert.
The freelancer with the cool gadgets.
All right. And Honglong represents orthodoxy, title, status, destiny. The establishment man who's been at the company for 30 years and can't be fired.
And the sources actually rank these powers, don't they?
They do. It presents a very sobering hierarchy. At the very top is Qi Yun Fate.
Okay.
Below that, magic treasures. And at the very bottom is personal ability.
Wow. So personal skill, talent, hard work, that's the least important factor.
In this worldview, yes. Masui had ability and a great treasure. But zero Qi Yun. Huang had no ability, mediocre treasures, but maximum Qi Yun.
And their endings reflect that perfectly.
Absolutely. Masui, the ruthless, efficient expert, ends up defeated, captured. His soul gets put on the investige board and he becomes a celestial bureaucrat. He loses his freedom.
And Huang, the guy who spent the whole war getting captured and humiliated.
He survives, becomes a god peacefully. He keeps his status. He wins by just being on the right team.
There's that folk saying the sources mentioned that sums it all up.
Masui can win against Huang 100 times, but he cannot win against the investiture list.
He can beat the man, but he can't beat the system.
That's the heart of it. The golden hoop is a fantastic tool for solving problems on the ground. It just can't solve the problem of destiny.
It's fascinating because we usually root for the guy with skills, the Batman archetype, the one with the gadgets and the training. Masui's basically that guy.
He is, and that's why he's a niche fan favorite. He represents that desire to see competence rewarded. But the story is ancient and it's cynical. It reminds us that sometimes competence just isn't enough.
So it forces you to ask, is it better to be good or is it better to be lucky?
Or is it better to be chosen? Masui was a freelancer. He didn't have that institutional backing.
And that's a survival strategy right there. We call Huang weak, but he survived a war that wiped out way more powerful people. Maybe his talent was just endurance and network management.
Network management as a superpower. Depressingly real, isn't it?
Ouch. Yeah. That hits a little too close to home.
Yeah.
But it shows why this story still resonates. We all know a Masui, and we definitely all know a Huang.
And we all probably fear the golden hoop.
Oh, absolutely. The idea of just being shut down instantly is terrifying. But let's circle back. Even though he lost, the sources say Matsui left a strong impression. Why do you think that is?
I think it's that purity of purpose. In a story full of magic and politics, there's something refreshing about a character who just does the job.
He's uncomplicated.
Exactly. He's a reminder that even if the system is rigged, you can still be terrifyingly effective in your own little sphere.
He may not have won the war, but he definitely gave Huang nightmares for the rest of time.
Oh, for sure. Every time Huang sees a gold bracelet, he probably flinches. That's a kind of victory.
So what's the takeaway? We've looked at the toolman, the golden hoop, the mismatch, and the crushing weight of fate.
I think the takeaway is to recognize the different types of power at play. There's Masui power, technical skill, tools, brilliance, and then there's Huang power, institutional support, reputation, structural protection.
And we usually focus on building our Masui power, right? We want the better skill, the better tools. We think if we build a better golden hoop, we'll win.
Correct. But if you ignore the Huang power, the network, the luck being aligned with the organization, you might win every battle, but still lose the war.
You could be the smartest person in the room, but if you're not on the investiture list, it might not matter.
It's about balance. You need enough skill to survive, but enough fate or network to thrive. Masui was all skill, no fate. Huang was all fate, no skill. And one of them had a much happier ending.
And it wasn't the guy with the golden hoop.
Sadly, no.
Well, that is a sobering but fascinating look at the hierarchy of the Fengshen universe. It really makes you rethink who the strongest characters are.
Strength is always context dependent.
I think that's a great place to leave it. We've unpacked the legend of Masui, the ruthless expert who couldn't beat the system.
A tragic hero for the working professional.
Before we go, here's something for you to mull over. We talked about how Masui lost because he lacked connections or destiny. But think about our own world. We say we want a meritocracy, that the person with the best skills should win. But looking at Masui and Huang, is it actually better to be the ruthless expert with no backup? Or is there a hidden wisdom in being the mediocre player who focuses on being protected by the right people? Which path actually leads to a godly retirement?
The question of independence versus security.
It's exactly. Something to think about. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
Always a pleasure.
See you next time.